Well, hello, all of my students. I hope you're having a fantastic day. My name is Jay, and welcome to another English lesson here on the channel where I have the opportunity to help you with your English comprehension, vocabulary, and your English fluency. I do that primarily through stories, and today I have a read and repeat lesson, and I know you're going to enjoy it. Be sure to hang around until the end, as I will have a few quiz questions to test your comprehension of today's story. I hope you're ready for a little bit of learning and laughter. Let's dive into today's story. Mr. Winslow. Mr. Winslow was excited about his new job at a local restaurant. But the excitement quickly faded. Let's read and repeat. Mr. Winslow was excited about his new job at a local restaurant. But that excitement quickly faded. Okay, let's review a couple of vocabulary words here in this sentence. Now, of course, a restaurant is a place where people go to eat various types of food, okay? You go, they cook it for you, they bring it to you, or you take it to go and you eat it later. A restaurant. Now, notice after Mr. Winslow got his new job at the restaurant, I said that the excitement of the new job quickly faded. So let's look at this word faded. Now, faded can mean a number of things. So the lights can fade. So I have lights on and I can gradually turn them off and they can go from light to dark. That's a fade. So you might say, could you fade the lights for me, please? We're about to watch a movie. Or you may say, I always know when the movie is about to start because the theater fades the lights. Okay, fade can also describe, listen to this, a type of haircut. Oh yeah. So normally you see it on men, but women also can have their hair faded, but they'll call like a man that has like a haircut that it's called a fade because it goes from no hair to a shadow of hair to a lot of hair. And barbers do it with their trimmers and they fade the hair in. Okay. Or you could use fade as describing a color that has gotten washed out. So you may say, Jay, your shirt looks old because the color is faded. Okay. It faded. Or you could use fade as I told my grandmother goodbye as she drove away and faded over the horizon. So you gradually see someone leave. They fade away. Okay. The sun went down and it was a beautiful sight as it faded down the horizon. Okay. That's a light shining off of my watch or the sunlight. But here in this sentence, his excitement quickly faded. So just like the lights, just like the sun fades over the horizon, or just like a haircut goes from no hair to gradually having more hair, faded excitement, or his excitement quickly faded, says that he was happy on Monday, but by Tuesday, he was no longer excited. So his excitement faded. Let's find out why. To his shock, or his surprise, or his amazement. Usually when someone is shocked, they're like, oh my God, or oh my goodness, I can't believe it. You know, they're shocked. They're like, okay. He saw huge rats walking across the floors and roaches crawling all over the storage area. Let's read and repeat. To his shock, he saw huge rats walking across the floors and roaches crawling all over the storage area. So the storage area is where they would store food or cleaning supplies in a restaurant, or it may be where they keep the dishes like plates and utensils, or they could store napkins. And Mr. Winslow was surprised to see roaches crawling everywhere and rats walking across the floor. Oh my goodness. So when we went to New York, one thing that I wanted to see that I did not see was a New York rat. I was actually looking for it because when you watch television and they talk about New York, they always talk about the rats that are in New York. And to my shock and amazement, I didn't see any rats. We smelled a lot of weed smoke, but we did not see any rats. Okay, let's continue to find out what happens. Horrified, or he was scared. He decided to try some home remedies to get rid of them, but nothing worked. Let's read and repeat. Horrified, he decided to try some home remedies to get rid of them, but nothing worked. So a home remedy is usually people try to solve a problem or come up with a solution with what they have at home so they don't have to go out and spend some money. So back in the day when certain people got sick, depending on the ailment, some people would go to the doctor. But instead of going to the doctor, some people would have home remedies. They may say, hey, where's the scotch? Take a hit of this scotch and you'll be all right. You know, they'll take a little alcohol for their stomach's sake. Okay. Or if a person was congested, you know, they may say, hey, go get a sock, put some Vicks Vapor Rub on it and rub it on your chest and you'll be okay. Okay. A home remedy. When I bite my cheek on the inside, or I bite my lip when I'm chewing food, one home remedy that I learned from my mother is to get some hot water, pour salt in it, and gargle with it, and it helps to heal that sore. So Mr. Winslow tried to do some home remedies at the restaurant, and it didn't work. These were some intelligent rats and roaches. He needed to come with something stronger. Desperate. So he was eager to solve his problem. Desperate. He even called an exterminator, or we say exterminator. Now, sometimes instead of just saying call an exterminator, we may say, hey, call the bug man. The bug man is the person who comes and sprays your house to get rid of the bugs. But the pest didn't go away. Let's repeat this sentence. Desperate, he even called an exterminator. But the pest didn't go away. So pest is another term that we use to describe menacing animals or something that is a nuisance. Okay, so when you have flies in the house, you're swatting at the flies. You say, "Oh, this pesky fly." Okay, it's a pest. It's getting on your nerve. It's a nuisance. Okay, let's find out what happened. His boss told him to just ignore the pest and make sure they didn't get into the customer's food. Really? Here in America, if you're in another country, the health department goes around to each public restaurant and they give the restaurant a grade so consumers can know if the restaurant is clean or not. This restaurant would have probably got a failing grade. Now, I don't know if you know it or not, but at least here in Georgia, you have some restaurants that are not on the up and up. Okay, they may not have a license. And so they open only after 5 o'clock when the health department probably will not come by. Okay, so people got to make money to take care of their family. Some people don't want to get the license, but they're good cooks. Okay, and they're clean. So they find what we call a loophole. Okay, they find a loophole. They find a way to still do what they desire to do. Let's read and repeat. His boss told him to just ignore the pest and make sure they didn't get into the customer's food. So to ignore, pay them no mind. Hey, if a rat goes out into the restaurant and the customers can see it, don't worry about it. As long as it doesn't get in their food. All right, that's a crazy boss. Disgusted. So Mr. Winslow found the situation to be appalling or gross or nasty. Disgusted, Mr. Winslow quit on the spot and warned all his friends never to eat there. Let's read and repeat. Disgusted, Mr. Winslow quit on the spot and warned all his friends never to eat there. So when you do something on the spot, that's a phrase that we use to describe doing something immediately without hesitation. Okay, so you might say the police officer pulled over the man and demanded that he get out of the car on the spot. Get out of the car right now. So immediately. When Jay's wife saw him and she smelled his cologne, she hugged him in public and gave him a luscious kiss right on the spot. So right when she saw me, she grabbed me, held me, and gave me some affection on the spot. Okay. All right, let's continue. Would you eat at that restaurant? What if they had good food? Could you get out of your mind it's rats and roaches back there? I tell people that work at restaurants, look, I don't want to know what goes on back there because if I know, I may not eat there. I've seen on TikTok, and I know we have students in other countries, and I know it might be customary or a part of your custom, but they show some street vendors that cook food with their hands and with their feet. Oh my goodness, they stir it with their feet. Sometimes in the video you can see a dog walking by. He may stick his nose in it. The shirt is off. They're sweating into the food. Oh my goodness. I couldn't do it. My stomach is not strong enough. Let me know if you've seen those type videos in the comment section. We're almost done. He found a new job at a grocery store, but to his disbelief, the same thing happened. Rats and roaches everywhere. And usually where there's food in large amounts, like at a restaurant or grocery store, there's going to be some rats and roaches crawling around. Let's read and repeat. He found a new job at a grocery store, but to his disbelief, the same thing happened. Rats and roaches everywhere. Lord, that's nasty. After quitting again, Mr. Winslow humorously ended up working as a movie theater attendant, hoping he'd finally avoid any more pest encounters. Well, Mr. Winslow, when you go to a theater, you're probably going to see some roaches and rats in the back because of all that popcorn, sticky butter, and candy that's on the floor. I could only imagine. Let's repeat this last sentence. After quitting again, Mr. Winslow humorously ended up working as a movie theater attendant, hoping he'd finally avoid any more pest encounters. So we normally don't use the term, though it's common, movie theater attendant. We may say ask the attendant, but it's more common to use the word usher. Hey, ask the usher. Okay. Ask the usher, is it a good movie? How long is the movie? We usually don't say movie attendant. Some people may just say attendant. Now, notice he wanted to avoid pest encounters. So to avoid means to stay away from. But like I said, you're probably going to run into them. I can remember when I was younger, I had in my mind that roaches and mice and rats were in movie theaters. So I was one of those guys that would put his feet up on the chair in front of him. Because if it was anything running on the floor, I didn't want it to run up my leg. All right, let's read and repeat, or let's just read through today's story at a faster pace without stopping. And let's see if you can keep up with me and comprehend the story as well. And then immediately afterwards, I will read today's quiz questions. Mr. Winslow was excited about his new job at a local restaurant, but that excitement quickly faded. To his shock, he saw huge rats walking across the floors and roaches crawling all over the storage area. Horrified, he decided to try some home remedies to get rid of them, but nothing worked. Desperate, he even called an exterminator, but the pest didn't go away. His boss told him to just ignore the pest and make sure they didn't get into the customer's food. Disgusted, Mr. Winslow quit on the spot and warned all his friends never to eat there. He found a new job at a grocery store, but to his disbelief, the same thing happened. Rats and roaches everywhere. After quitting again, Mr. Winslow humorously ended up working as a movie theater attendant, hoping he'd finally avoid any more pest encounters. All right, let's get into today's quiz questions. I want you to use the comment section below to answer today's, I think these are simple questions. What is an exterminator? Now, can you remember the word that I told you that's more common than an exterminator? Let me know down in the comments section. Number 2, what is a home remedy? And do you have a home remedy that you can put down in the comments section? What is something that you do at home? What is a home remedy that you use to solve a problem or cure an illness? And number 3, what does disgusted mean? Blech, disgusted. Well, I hope you have enjoyed today's lesson. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Be sure to study my other videos and lessons that I have here on YouTube. The links are in the description. Also, if you would like to strengthen your English listening skills, be sure to check out my Parlay with Jay channel. That link is also in the description. I hope I hear from you down in the comments section. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. As always, if you enjoyed today's lesson, be sure to share it with a friend that's trying to improve their English. And I hope you join me on my next English lesson.